Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And hi, love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious, and that life is treating you most deliciously. So, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? Well, it's 25 past 12 in our old afternoon, my delicious little babies, on this 26th of July 2025. The weather is very grey. This morning it was peeing down with rain, my delicious little babies, but I hope that wherever you are in the world, that life is treating you most deliciously and that you're having better weather than I am today in our neck of the woods in old England, my delicious little babies. Now then, I've got two pieces of information, okay, my delicious little babies. And what this is I've watched let's just say numerous, there we are, over the years, different videos. And this is actually to do with MK Ultra. It's there we are. It's also to do with I'll tell you who spoke about it. Not in that way, not in that way with anybody. Our lovely David Icke, he spoke decades ago about this, my delicious little babies, bless him, okay, and bless his dear little family, okay. Well, the fact is here, my delicious little babies, is that this is it is very real. Now, for those of you, my delicious little babies, who do know, then you will already know that this is so. But for others of our delicious little babies, they may not know. Now, for myself, I actually see it as, well, really, it's like we have all had a very nasty, putrid blanket, let's just say, excuse me, dark clouds, all over the world for decades, decades, and decades, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? So, and it was very bad. You go back decades and decades and decades ago, my delicious little babies. It was very bad indeed. Sorry, could you please excuse me just a moment, my delicious little babies? I'm sorry about that, my delicious little babies. I had a slight cough then. Okay, my delicious little babies, it doesn't matter. I'm back rocking and rolling. Now then, my delicious little babies. So this was going on decades, and decades ago, and then you only have to go back, with a little Shirley Temple. There we are, little Shirley Temple and things like this. Anyway, I've mentioned this, there we are, for years, my delicious little babies, okay? But I was watching Substack this morning, my delicious little babies. Now, you see, you can get some like little films that are put together, and they can maybe be, let's just say, because I've seen many, there we are, okay, my delicious little babies over these years, and they can seem a little bit somewhat confusing. Do you know what I mean? Okay, because they're going back, forth and forth, and so you're not really seeing where you are, whether you're in the park of the pictures, my delicious little babies, okay. But this video here, my delicious little babies, there we are, has been very well put together. It's so very sad and putrid, when you hear the level of everything and everything that's gone on now, then, my delicious little babies. And I do believe, as putrid of a topic this is, that there we are, it must, there we are, and continue to be spoken about, okay? Because we have to look at our future generations, because yes, we'll be here for decades, but what about our future? There we are, our future generations, my delicious little babies. So this is our field, there we are, and so do thousands of others. There we are, extremely serious indeed, my delicious little babies, okay? So this one here is on Substack, my delicious little babies, okay? I do believe, does it look like they've got 208 followers? And so you only have to type in, whether you want to go through, DuckDuckGo. That doesn't mean no, my delicious little babies, okay? Maybe type in Substack, okay, my delicious little babies. And then, if you type into the search engine part, down, capital D, then space, the, okay, it looks like a lowercase t actually, unless I've got that wrong. Unless it could be a capital. Sorry, Martin, baby, sorry about that. So it's down, space, the, space, capital R, rabbit, space, capital H, hole. Okay, Martin, babies. Now you'll notice, sorry, because I used to deal with a lot of engraving, decades ago, Martin, babies, in my job. So you have all different script and, you know what I mean, in Roman and, all different types of engraving, my delicious little babies. Well, anyway, you'll notice that it's different with the typing, okay, my delicious little babies. And right next to it, you'll see like a little white rabbit, and then you'll see a bit of blue, and then you'll know that, there we are, that you're on the correct channel, my delicious little babies, okay, the correct Substack. And the video should read, child trafficking documentary, PT3, part 3, Renegade Films. Okay, my delicious babies. So I'm just going to repeat that again for you, okay? Child trafficking documentary, part 3, Renegade Films. This documentary is 1.55 minutes long, my delicious babies. So yes, it is. There we are, a rather long video film to listen to, my delicious babies. Okay, there we are, but it is so very important. Now, like I said, I've seen many different over there we are, the years, my delicious babies, which I have. But the way that this has been put together, however, I have not seen part 1 or part 2, okay, because there's a lot to this, okay. Again, that doesn't mean no. There is a lot to this, my delicious little babies, okay. And of course, as we've said, it's all in plain sight. It's like if you look at some symbols like Wool's ice cream, just for an example, Wool's ice cream, my delicious babies. Well, what ones would, spare a thought of going into a shop and going and purchasing an ice cream or just one cornetto, give it to me. Not very likely they're 50p. Okay, my delicious babies, that's what we used to sing when we were little, my delicious babies, okay? Anyway, but getting back to the serious part, that was just what we used to sing when we were little. We lads and lasses now, little bairns, okay? But just looking at that symbol alone, it doesn't mean what is on the front of the ice cream package, my delicious little babies, okay? Of course, there are thousands out there who already know this, okay? It's just you just have to study the symbols. Do you see what I mean, okay? But getting back to this now then, I mean, it was absolutely putrid. What was taking place for all these years, yes. And of course, our lovely David Icke, bless him, he's interviewed, to do with the MK Ultra and, and everything, my delicious little baby. So that goes back to our lovely David Icke, he was chatting about this, bless his beautiful, dear little soul, long time, way before, thousands of others. So I'm not being disrespectful when I say that, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? That's what I always say about our lovely dear David Icke and his lovely dear little sons and their lovely dear little friend Richard, that they should, and Gareth and Jamie, that they should, that we are, get full credit. I do believe that. I genuinely do. And I'll repeat again with our lovely UK column. Like they dig deep into things now. Do you see what I mean? But of course, when you do that, you're going to get some negative comments. I've been seeing it. Do you see what I mean? Okay. But we'll get back to this again. But unless, ones have spent hours, weeks, years, months, doing all of this research, who is anybody to send a damn negative comment, my delicious little babies? They've got effing no right at all. Do you see what I mean? Okay, it's very serious. I mean, our lovely Brian Gerrish, bless him, he's talked about, to do with this, and they've been covering a lot lately, actually, on their videos. So please, with our lovely davidite.com, or you can go on our lovely iconic.com, and then you've got our lovely UK column, which is their own website. So then you've got our lovely UK column news, all spaces, in an old YouTube, my delicious little babies, okay? So, they're still at 14,000. Oh, bless the beautiful, dear little souls, And I do believe, what is our dear Gareth, dear Jamie's at, and Richard's? Is it 7.6? It could be up to 7.7 by now, or it could be 7.75 actually, my delicious little babies. Anyway, I love to see the numbers go up, okay? But yes, so they're covering a lot, and to do with is our lovely UK column to do with the child abuse, and everything like this now then. Now, of course, I was listening to this video, my delicious little babies, but then I thought, I'll go on to our lovely Not In That Way, Not In That Way, our lovely Redacted. And woe and betard, you'll never believe, my delicious little babies. Mind you, they've been talking about things like this now then on their channel, okay? This putrid business as well, because they have 2.71 million subscribers. So in the old space by my delicious little babies in YouTube, capital R, Redacted. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, so it's the second one of the two most recent videos. And it should read, this is an extinction level event. CIA MK Ultra whistleblower James Martinez is sounding the alarm. Yes, my delicious little babies. Now, what it is, I'm a third of the way through, but I do advertise on a regular basis. Our lovely Redacted as well, with our lovely little Natalie and our dear little Clayton. And sometimes they have their dear friend, what's his name, Dave or Phil. I can never remember the name, so I'm so very sorry, my delicious little baby. I don't know why I get confused with that. I've no idea why I get confused with that at all with the names. I just do not know. I don't know what it is. It's like my mind just goes blank. Anyway, well, they're talking about this. This video is over 50 minutes long, my delicious little babies. Okay, now what it is, this James Martinez, who is a guest on our lovely Redacted, talking to our dear Clayton now then, he's saying that he's been approached. Okay, now what this is, of course, this is set to go all over the world, my delicious little babies. Okay, it's very serious. There we are, very serious indeed. Okay, but you see, I'll go back to what I was saying. I believe we've had a massive cloud, a massive blanket. That's the only best way for myself to explain it. For decades, because there has been a colossal, huge, large amount of, there we are, brainwashing, my delicious little babies, okay? But especially when you've got industries, that doesn't mean like the music industry, if you want to be an actor or an actress. I mean, somebody else who spoke out, there we are, long time about this, is, there we are, Mel Gibson, my delicious little babies. He spoke out, there we are, long time about it, okay? So I really genuinely feel, there we are, that ones need to be paying, there we are, really a lot of attention, there we are, to this, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. And of course, over these years and years, you hear about, all of the, that doesn't mean no against, I hear in my mouth, my delicious little babies. You hear about these putrid cults. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay? If you look in our modern time, we have got the cults. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay? So this is all, I feel, should be listened to and taken, there we are, extremely seriously. Okay, my delicious little babies, this is how I feel on this topic. Do you see? Just like when they were talking about, to do with the ones were, what do they call them, abducted by aliens. But of course, we'll just draw a line down there. But you see, what it is it's the level of brainwashing for them to believe. But these ones who say that they've been abducted. They genuinely believe that they have been abducted, Martinish little babies. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So there's lots going on, but if you go back to Please and Thank You, Martinish little babies, which I did advertise a couple of days ago, it's all to do as well with the Khazarian mafia and everything. So you see, I mean, I've talked about, there we are, a long time about this and about Khazarian, there we are, mafia and everything, Martinish little babies, okay, but you see what it is, okay, we're in a situation, and I keep getting back to this, where rather than you explain something, I'm not going to talk about everybody, Martinish little babies, because you will have the occasional, I will have the occasional one, mankind, where they are willing to listen, there we are, to what I've got to say, Martinish little babies, and I will say the occasional mankind. Because for most, no, they've got families to look after, they've got jobs to do, they're a lot of the time they're just, run off their feet. There we are. Do you know what I mean? Martinish little babies, okay? And then, of course, all that they really want to do, I suppose, when they get home from work, other than cook the tea and do everything, because these days you've got mummies and daddies out going to work, whereas you go back decades ago, well, I've been a long time saying this, there used to only need to be one mummy or daddy to go to work, do you know what I mean? Which was usually the daddy. Do you see what I'm saying, okay? But now it's mummies and daddies, okay? So I suppose all they want to do is just do that, have time with the family. And I don't know, just do other activities. I don't know whether it's going out, shopping or watching footy or whatever they want to do. Do you understand what I mean? But not paying attention. So it is not meant in a disrespectful way, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? They're just not wanting to pay attention to this. It's like there we are too deep for that. There we are too deep for them to listen to, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? It's a realisation. And that's how, if you look over the decades, there we are, it's how immersed have been. It's like we've been cocooned. Do you see what I mean? Okay. So this is, what has been going on, my delicious little babies. But there we are. This is very real. And these ones carrying out this this disgusting putrid business now. They're dirty effers, man. Putrid. How they can still, still walk the planet. You know what I mean? Because of course, you're going to have their putrid offspring. You know what I mean? Who carry it on. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, Kai? It's just damn rank, man, disgusting. But of course, these do not see anything as being wrong in what they do. It's sickening. It makes you want to, we are projecting a bucket. It's just damn well sickening, man. Do you know what I mean? Just at the level that they went to. But in that first one that I told you about, that documentary, my delicious babies, yeah, the one got assassinated, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? Because of the putridness that he'd put upon, population. Ooh. My delicious babies, sorry. So yeah, but it's well worth a listen, my delicious babies. It's so very important, So you see what it is. This is why they try to erase. There we are, many parts of history. But the thing is, they cannot erase everything, my delicious babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay, and there we are. That is what the struggle has been. And of course, because now more and more are waking up, to what has been going on, And I would say, definitely, and I'll repeat it again, since the old pandemic, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? That certainly opened somebody's, their eyes and ears. You see what I mean? To realise that everything that they thought that, well, let's just say in their little bubbles, because I do not mean that in a nasty way. We've all been, there we are, we've all been there. I've been spending, there we are, years now. There we are, absolutely years. We are, my delicious babies, to deprogram myself. And let me tell you, it has not been a very I would say easy journey. Not at all, my delicious little babies, not at all. It can be very lonely, very isolating, because others, for most, are just not on my song sheet. They're just not on my level. I really find it difficult to communicate with others on my level. And I do not mean that's nasty against anybody who I know. No, I do not. But I really find it, there we are, really most difficult to communicate with others who have any form of an understanding like I do. They're just not interested. So, sometimes I just feel like I don't want to engage with anybody at all, you know what I mean? I mean, sometimes I walk out. So, I mean, I'm like one of the most happy-go-lucky. I can have a laugh and a jerk with anybody, but I do get days where I walk out and, I see ones, you know what I mean? And, but if I just do not say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and of course they have done nothing wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? And therefore that would make myself in the wrong for doing that, for not even acknowledging them. So I still say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Do you know what I mean? But I do not particularly want to engage. So I do get days like that, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather just not speak to anybody. Do you know what I mean? I just would rather just be on my own. Do you understand what I mean? Okay. It probably sounds really hard for you to understand, my delicious little babies, but that's simple things. That's how I am, you know. But yeah, and of course, and it's an uphill struggle, to try to explain to others. Mm. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? Because while you've got this situation, so I'm just going to close my book. So while you've got this situation, and we must always go back to where we need to go back to, my delicious little babies, but, while we've got this situation, I repeat it again, things can never change. 3, 2, 1, my juice, little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright, yes? I mean, if you look at it, I mean, that doesn't mean no. I mean, it's another side of programming, isn't it? When you got everybody on a dog and burns, and it's like they've got everybody locked into a certain way of thinking now, my delicious babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. But what that man was talking about, getting to our lovely redacted, when he was dear Clayton was talking to James, bless his guest. They're talking about toasters. They're talking about everything, my delicious babes. I mean, come on. I mean, how long was it ago now? Then somebody had bought. Was it in Scotland? Gosh, I'm going back a while ago now. They bought one of these smart. I do believe fridge freezers, my delicious babies. Well, there's nothing smart about them, my delicious babies. Just the same as smart meters or anything like this now, smart watches or anything like this. There's nothing smart about them at all, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So heaven knows who come up with that flipping silly name anyway. But that could hear everything. And then the family, because it was in the kitchen, they were all having a chat as a family. Next thing you know, you got a knock at the door. There's somebody at the door. It's the old Bill, the police, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? To do with conversations that the family thought that they were having. And I'm pretty sure it was in Scotland. I remember mentioning it, my delicious little babies, guy. They thought was in the 4 walls, but it actually wasn't. Okay, my delicious little babies, guy. This is a total invasion of everybody's privacy. It's like certain now, and they use little lackeys to do it. They want every part of you, everything. It's like everything there we are is up for grabs, just like our data. And for those of you out there, my delicious little babies, if you have doctors and things like this now, you're not so friendly quacks. You know what I mean? Maybe you need to give them, an old ring, 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 ring on the old dog and burn, my delicious little babies, and maybe have a little chatty about the data aspect of things, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Because NHS, there we are, seems to be most busy. in our old England, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? But of course, it's like liquid gold now. So instead of having other things now as being precious, shall we say, on the old stock markets, well, it appears that it's data. My delicious little babies, okay, they want every bit of data. It's like, like if you could go on to any site, I don't know, I suppose if you want to look at news or something like this now then, and then it says, manage your cookies or something. What I tend to do, my delicious little babies, 9 times out of 10, is I'll just come back out of it. Because my thought is, well, no, I'm really trying, but like I say, I've been doing this long time, do you know what I mean? Just so that they cannot flipping catch me now, do you know what I mean? But this is what they're doing, and the thing is, nobody has given their consent, just like face recognition, just like anything. They have not given their consent for any of this. None of us have. So what rights do these have, or anybody? To want to know every aspect of our lives, whether it be of a personal nature. So do forgive me. I know it could be too much information. I'm going to be polite as what I can. Even if one's, loving couples are in the bedroom having an old swing off the old chandeliers, you know what I mean? And they still want to know your business when you're in your bedroom now. If you're having a shower, wherever you are in your home, and then you buy these gadgets. You see it all the time, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? Ones buy all these gadgets, little or large, and they think, oh, yes, I'm really up with everything. Failing, my delicious little babies. So I'm not shouting at you. You should know that. To do any research at all, just like I call them these silly little Egypts and plebs, some others do have them, who like to purchase Lego electric vehicles, my delicious little baby's car. I repeat again, I wouldn't want to live next door to anybody with one of those or with a plug-in, not at all. It could blow up. There we are at any time. There we are, my delicious little babies. And I repeat again, you've seen it all over the world. Driverless cars that seem to have a man to their my delicious little babies. A car can get you into some right sticky situations. Could just park themselves. You could be going along a motorway and it'll just stop. Well, imagine that, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But of course, who would be, I do not like this word, my delicious little babies, but occasionally we do have to use it. Who would be damn foolish enough to even get into a driverless car? But ones who I feel have too much ka-ching, 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 and very little common sense, my delicious little babies, of course, would be foolish enough to go and do that. Just like these Lego electric cars. I spoke to others. The one thing I am pleased about, my delicious little babies, I am starting to see now a lot more, there we are, older cars. There we are, my delicious little babies, which of course, with old born in the USA, they want to get hold of a lot of our in old England, my delicious little babies. Anybody who happens to own an older car. What would America want with our old cars then, my delicious little babies? Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. Do you say? So you have to see how, there we are, this all rocks and rolls, my delicious little babies. I mean, I know that I've gone from saying one thing, to saying something else, but to myself, it's just whatever's on my noddle. But yes, please, there's 2 very important videos, my delicious little babies, to please take a listen to. And all I can do is really give good advice. I cannot make anybody do anything. No, I cannot. But I can certainly give good advice. And the good piece of advice is please try and avoid these newer smart items now then, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? And please always remember that these very large, colossal screens, to keep one's entertained, my delicious little babies, are also spying on you. You see, I can go back decades ago to when I was a lot younger. And I used to always, because I never once, I've said it on my videos before, I never once ever wanted a television in my bedroom. My delicious babies, in the whole of my life, I'm 51 now, I have never ever had a television in my bedroom, and neither would I ever. Not a chance. I do not even own a television. I haven't for years. So the fact of the matter is, my delicious babies, you've been spied on everywhere. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day, my delicious babies, and they happened to be wearing, I said, you're wearing two watches. I thought, what would you be wearing two watches for? Do you know what I mean? So the one watch happened to be normal. Well, like a watch. Well, it's a watch, isn't it? Because after all, man invented time. But really, there we are. It's timeless. Do you see what I mean? My delicious babies, Kai. But of course, they wanted us all slave driven. So everything has to be tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Do you see what I mean? My delicious babies, Kai. But no, who I spoke to said no. The other watch is not a watch. It's like a heart monitor. Because what happened was, is it about 7 or 8 months ago? Had nothing wrong with them, perfectly fit, perfectly healthy, my delicious babies. You could tell that just by looking at them. Very, not in that way, very athletic looking, in their 60s. Okay. Then all of a sudden come down with heart problems. So since then they've had a lot of problems. Okay, my delicious little babies, they are no longer the same as what they used to be. But they wear this to monitor the heart, my delicious little babies. Can you see how these, and of course they get the little lackeys, how they've managed to do this? So if you go back to say, I don't know, 1900s or whatever, yes? Were they walking around with one of these heart monitors? Was they walking around with one of these watches that says, oh, yes, I've completed my 1,000 steps today? Was there any of that, my little babies? No, there wasn't. I'm not saying that technology hasn't been, like I say, around a long time. I'm not saying that for decades and decades. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there are far too many who rely on what I feel they're all of the shots. But of course, because who I spoke to, because they're so fearful, my delicious babies, okay? Because they want to live. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, my delicious babies, okay? But that one too, I think, took 3. My delicious babies, you know what I mean? And even when I spoke to them, they were still adamant, absolutely, my delicious babies, adamant that what they have taken has done them absolutely no harm at all. Well, how can you go from being healthy, fit, and of course this who I was out talking to, their dear wife is in a just over 55, another few years, and she's got dementia. So how can that be? If you've got two perfectly fit, healthy couple. And apparently, they used to do a lot of running, do a lot of, like I said, very athletic. And of course, was it marathons, things like this now then. And now, even, I don't know, I'm just using it as an example. I mean, I feel so sorry for the couple, but the point of the matter is, even I should imagine for him to get on a bike, to ride that bike, would be an effort. But of course, when I mentioned what it could be, I would have said, there we are. I'm pretty much, nobody's right all the time, but I'd pretty much say, there we are, I'm bang on the flipping ka-ching here. Just wouldn't hear of it. Can you see what I'm saying? So if you look at that, it's a level of brainwashing. Do you see what I mean? Okay, refusing, just point blank, refusing to accept that something else could have caused the illnesses. But can you see my delicious little babies, Kai? So that's why I say, please, it's really important. Like I said, but I mean, I can say please all a lot, really, but if nobody wants to take a look at the videos that I've advertised, there's nothing I can do, is there? But what my concern is, anybody out there who's got a young family, a beautiful little young family, you know, I genuinely feel should be paying, there we are, some form of attention to this. There we are, my delicious little babies, okay? Because you must remember that little bands, and especially with music, with acting, with everything, it can be very, let's just say, you can have younger generations. You've seen it, haven't you? Over the decades, I want to be an actor, I want to be an actress, I want to be a singer, I want to be a dancer. But the question is, there we are, at what price? And who are they going to be there around? Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, so in other words, little bands, little babies are very impressionable. Just like you could get ones, young teens, teenagers, adolescents. They can be, there we are, very impressionable. It's like a form of, there we are, of naivety. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like sorry, excuse me. I don't know what's happening today with my throat now. Delicious babies. I don't know. It must be what I'm doing, what I'm talking about. Maybe coughing out negative energy, my delicious. But there we are. Little babies haven't said that for a long time anyway. But it's a form of innocence, isn't it, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? So the only way that you would find maybe a little bairn, a little wee baby or a little adolescent who maybe does not have that naivety, okay, or innocence, is if very sadly that they've really been put through to flipping hell and back, through hell and back, okay, because they would know, there we are, ding ding dong dong, what's going on, do you know what I mean? Okay, because very sadly they've been brought into that world where they're, very sadly, they're mummies or daddies, maybe drug addicts or something like this now, then okay, there's no way out for that poor little bairn. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, so sad. But they would be the only ones I feel that, would be well on the mark. Do you know what I mean? Okay, my delicious little babies, they know what's what. There we are, okay? But, for most, who we all know, and whoever's looking in my camera. So thank you for any views, for any likes, and for the occasional comments. How I love you all so. But, for most, for the little bands who we know, they're just innocent, aren't they? Which is how it should be. But when they've got all of these different things going on, they're very impressionable. They're taking in all this information like a sponge. They're not always seeing. Do you see what I mean? That's the point I'm making. This is why this is so super duper important, my delicious little babies. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm going to leave my video like that. So sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected, okay? How I love you all, sir. Because, for myself personally as well, one day, my beautiful baby daughters, they'll, after their careers, they'll, have little families and everything. Well, I would never, ever, ever see any little grandbabies of mine go through all of this shit. No. After all, for you and I, for most of us who are looking at my video today, my delicious little babies, mind you, my videos hardly get to see my delicious little babies, but never mind. Not to worry, there's always somebody hearing and someone seeing. So the message there always gets out. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, and blessings to whoever you may be, who gets that, there we are, information out for me. Thank you for that. Bless you. But yes, the fact of the matter is we've all gone through it, haven't we, for most of us? We've all experienced it, but we're talking about our generations now and the little babies who we know now and the families we know now, then they've got to grow up yet. Do you see what I mean? Like I said, one day I'll have my beautiful little baby granddaughters for most of my beautiful dear little friends, because I have a small circle, which is how I like to keep it. Well, they are grandmothers. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So at the end of the day, you know, what my concern is, it is our future generations, like I said. So if we cannot defend them, or we cannot to talk about this, but not in nasty way, but to do our best to put a stop to all of this, then this must be talked about. It must be, and our babies at all costs, there we are, must be fully protected. Do you see what I mean? Okay, so that you do not get the nasty putrid predators, because they seem to be lurking everywhere. My delicious little babies, you know what I mean? All over the world. Do you see what I'm saying, my delicious little babies? Yes. So that's what my concern is. That we do our best to guard, which of course whoever I know anyway, my delicious little babies, okay, they're very close families, bless, okay. But what I'm saying is so that they do not fall in, we are, to the trap. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So this is what this is about, you say. But they want ones when they're dirty, filthy, man. They want them, the younger, the better, it seems, with these dirty, putrid now. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, so please take care of yourselves now, and please try to take care of others, my delicious little babies. And once again, thank you for listening. I know that I talk about, lots of serious, but for myself, even though it's sometimes it's really flipping hard work, my delicious little babies, like, I don't mean it in the wrong sense of the word, but mentally, to get my there we are, my point across. Can be very flipping damn hard work sometimes, my delicious little babies, but there we are, I shall continue. I mean, my video yesterday took hours upon hours upon hours upon hours to upload. So what it does, when I put the title, before I upload it, sometimes it'll have my photograph, and then other times it's just blank. So when it's blank, that usually means it's going to take longer, my delicious little babies. It's just like having a blank tape. Do you understand what I mean? It's just all grey with 3 holes. That's what it is, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? So you just know that it's going to take hours upon hours upon hours. And so it'll tell you, for example, I don't know, 13 minutes, 14 minutes, and then all of a sudden it'll say 3 hours again. That's what it's been doing, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? That's the way it goes, isn't it? Okay. Whoa, mercy, mercy me. Whoa, things ain't what they used to be. No, no. Where did all the blue skies go? What year was that song, my delicious little babies? Anyway, love ya. Thank you for listening once again. Take care. Goodbye.